Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video. Today we're going to be doing another edition of Getting to Know a DC Character. So before we go into the video series itself, I just want to say to everyone, Happy St. Paddy's Day to you. At the time of the recording of this video, and hopefully the uploading, it is St. Patrick's Day, which is, well, a great holiday. I personally don't drink, but St. Patrick's Day is an important holiday to me because I'm half Irish. Not just that, I live in Boston, which is a very Irish-heavy community, for lack of a better term, like go Celtics? I don't know. In all saying that, St. Patrick's Day is a really fun holiday. It's time to spend with friends and family and loved ones and just have a good time, be merry. So, happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. With that said, let's get into the video. Before I went on my sabbatical, for lack of a better term, I was trying to start up a new video series called Getting to Know a DC Character, in which I would take a character, talk about them, give a brief history about them, give a little bit of a personality shakedown, their powers and abilities, and then a light reading list for you to get into. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, well, getting into a character can be tough. Like, there's years of comics out there, and where to start and where to go, like, who knows? Like, there's 75 plus years of Superman alone. And some characters are hard to get into, just because the reading list isn't quite as, well, easy. Like, with Batman and Superman, like, it's kind of easy to pick up the death of Superman, Batman Hush, Nightfall, whatever happened to the Cape Crusader? No, whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow? Like, well, both of them are good stories, but you can easily find a good story for certain characters, right? It's not as easy with some other characters, or even some of the major ones, like Wonder Woman, who is one of the most successful and iconic superheroes. I mean, someone might need a realist to get into her. I know I did, but that's besides the point. The thing is that I wanted to create a series in which people can get into characters that are maybe not their main characters, or characters that they're slightly interested to, but they're not sure if they actually want to commit the money to them. And the last two videos I did, Tim Drake, which was the third Robin, and Hal Jordan, Green Lantern and Space Sector 2814. And I had like a theme going. I had like, pick a Robin. Do you want to hear about Dick, Tim, or Jason? Or pick a Justice Leaguer. Do you want me to talk about Aquaman, Flash, or Green Lantern? And then the sabbatical happened. And I don't really remember what the last option was. Like, was it pick a Suicide Squad or pick a team? Or I don't know. So I decided to start fresh, right? Let's talk about a character that's near and dear to my heart, a character that was important to me because when I started to get back into comic books in my teenage years, he kind of drew me in. He allured me to him with his concept and his design and the look and everything of the character. But not just that, a character that is important throughout the whole entire DC mythos, at least after the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and who's kind of important right now, who's making an impact in the DC universe for Rebirth. Let's talk about none other, the man, the myth, the legend, your favorite superhero, the greatest hero you've never heard of, Booster Gold. Look at this beautiful smile. Look at that smile. Oh my god, the grin. Booster Gold. Booster Gold. What can I say about Booster Gold? Well, let's start off with this. Some superheroes, like Batman, are motivated to become a superhero because of a tragedy that happened in their life that drove them to become more than what they are. Some superheroes, like Superman, right, have a superpowers and they're taught right for wrong and responsibility and have a great upbringing. Also Spider-Man, right? Some superheroes have a sense of duty based on the culture that they come from and the lessons that are brought into them and the mission that is given to them, similar to Wonder Woman. Some superheroes have their mission thrusted upon them, given great power and duty, not necessarily always by choice, like Green Lantern. Booster Gold is nothing like that. No. Hard pass. No. Booster Gold is motivated by three things: money, women, and power. At least in the beginning. But those are his motivations. See, Booster Gold real name Michael John Carter, but I'm just going to call him Booster because it's so much better. What a name. Booster Gold. But anyways, Booster is from the future. Particularly Gotham City. And, like, his life started off pretty decent, right? He was a football star. Everything was going good for him. And then he made some bad decisions. And those bad decisions followed him. And because of that, well, his life wasn't that good anymore. It actually was pretty shit. So Booster decided, if my life's not good right now, when can it be good? The key word is when. Booster decided that he will go back in time to the dawn and age of the superheroes, and he will don a costume and become a superhero himself. Only then he can be loved, adored, and appreciated for the individual that he is. So that's exactly what he did. He went to a museum, stealed some paraphernalia, which we'll go into a little bit later, to give him the superpowers and tools and abilities that he needs. And along with his assistant, Skeets, traveled back in time. Yeah, Skeets is a robotic droid that flies near him. Goes back in time to make a name for himself as a superhero. And he shows up shortly after the Crisis on Infinite Earths. And for the most part, the start of Booster's series, or his adventures, is just that. Him marketing himself out like a NASCAR driver to any sponsor that wants to basically, well, put their name out there. He's looking to make money any way he can. He makes commercials. He creates a cereal called Booster Flakes because they're boosterific. He has sponsors, Coca-Cola and different kind, Amazon and eBay put stuff on his suit. It's quite hilarious. I think one of these comics actually has a picture of him putting all the stuff on his suit. It's silly. Look at this. Look at this. He has a beer logo on him. Booster, you scoundrel, you scoundrel. So Booster was all about making that dime, about making that money. But of course, that's not always going to stay the same. Booster wanted a little bit more. He wanted to actually be a hero because he was just stopping small time crooks and like D-list supervillains. But he really wanted to, if he's going to make the big bucks, and also really fill that void in his heart. I'm sorry, I couldn't take myself seriously there. He's not really filling a void in his heart. He's filling the void in his pocket. He needed to make more of a name of himself. So he joins the Justice League International, their newly reformed Justice League. And there he meets his best friend, Blue Beetle. And it's in his time with the Justice League, it's probably some of his most important time, because it's where he starts to actually become a hero. He starts to gain respect on the superhero community. And he meets his friend, Blue Beetle, who either directly or indirectly alters Booster's future forever. Booster stays with the Justice League International up until the time it gets disbanded and then reformed as the Justice League of America. That's a different story for a different time. And then it kind of disappears. It isn't until, spoiler alert, that his friend Blue Beetle is shot, killed, and murdered by Maxwell Lord that Booster Gold gets to change. He has this new sense of duty and need to do what's right. Kind of. And he is approached by Rip Hunter, who is a Time Master. And basically, for the remaining of his status quo, right, he goes out there and saves the time stream. He prevents anomalies and paradoxes from happening. He makes sure that superheroes become the superhero they're supposed to be. And that's the gist of Booster Gold. If you guys ever watched DC Legends of Tomorrow, the concept of that show is kind of the concept of Booster Gold. He goes out there and he saves the world. And no one knows it because, see, Booster decides to actually throws himself into the role and portrays himself as an imbecile, as an idiot. He purposely does this because no one would suspect that he has a greater duty. And that's why he gets the title of the hero, the greatest hero you'll never know. Because he's saving the time stream and everyone thinks he's just a glory-hogging idiot. And that's the charm of Booster Gold. He's an unsung hero. He is the underdog story. And it really is one of the drawing factors of Booster Gold. And he's also one of the most developed and changed characters, going from an egotistic, glory-hounding, hedonistic individual into this hero that's willing to do anything and everything to save the time stream. And the thing is he does. Like, Booster goes out there and he does so much good. And a lot of people know this. A lot of people do. At least in the superhero community. He does so much good that he gains the respect of some of the biggest names. Superman and Batman both have dealt with Booster Gold on multiple occasions. And Batman was actually the first person in the superhero community to know Booster's time-traveling shenanigans. And he was cool with it. And he respected Booster Gold because of what he was doing. Like, there's more to Michael than just the character of Booster Gold. It's his duty and his sense. And there's a lot of tragedy and triumph that goes with it. So that's a basic history of Booster Gold. And a basic gist of his character. He's a character that is flawed, but he's a character that has a lot of heart. And that's kind of the great thing about him. He has a lot of heart. He may not do everything right. He's not Superman. He doesn't have all the superpowers, or Batman with all the answers, but he doesn't need to be. He goes out there and he does what is right because that's what he's supposed to do. He saves the time stream. He is the hero that you never knew. Anyways, with that said, let's go into powers and abilities. Booster doesn't actually have any powers, but he does have quite a bit of abilities. Most of his superheroics or heroicness comes from his equipment that he wears, right? I'll talk about Skeet a little bit later. Skeet is I'll talk to him about it now. He has first his assistant, which is Skeet, which is this flying robot that basically helps him with all of his missions. Skeets can go out there and hack into devices, read temporal anomalies, shoot laser beams out of his visor? Eyes? I don't know. Skeets is an incredible asset to Booster, and he's kind of the straight man to Booster Gold. He's the Spock to Booster Gold's Kirk, kind of. I mean, Kirk is a bit more competent than Booster, but that's here and there. But not just that, Booster has a suit which has stolen technology from his Sentry, like Brainiac 5's force field belt. He can literally create a force field to protect himself, and it can actually hold its own against some pretty powerful hits. It helped him survive an attack from Doomsday. Not win, but survive. That's a pretty big feat. Not just that, he has a Legion flight ring from the Legion of Superheroes, which of course gives him flight. And he has wrist-mounted concussion laser blasters, which has various degrees of impact on them, to light stunning to full-flay Kamehameha wave-style hits. Booster Gold's suit itself allows him some increased strength and durability. He can lift up to 10 to 20 tons, but the strain of it could tear up his suit, so he tends not to do it unless necessary. And his suit itself provides him protection without the force field for contact like bullets and stuff like that. It'll still hurt him to a degree, but he can take a hit. Booster also has the ability of traveling through time in various different ways and means. Most notably is with Rip Hunter's Time Sphere, which is one of Booster Gold's associates. So he can basically alter and change the timeline as he needs to. But Booster goes by the same rule that all time-traveling people do, is don't interfere unless you need to fix something. He hates going back in the time and changing something. Only one time, it's really when Barbara Gordon was getting shot by the Joker, did he ever actually try to prevent something from happening. Most of the time he tries to preserve the timeline, no matter how bad it is. And not just that, Booster Gold has some pretty good physical feats to himself. He's a man in excellent condition that trains rigorously and exercises daily. Not just that, but he's actually an incredible acrobat in himself. He has some basic hand-to-hand combatants. I would put him on the level of someone that can bar fight pretty good, or street fight, I guess. He has no formal combat training. Like he no military training, no boxing, no martial arts, nothing. He's good at it. He's good brawling. But he never has to actually resort to fisticuffs. It's all about pew, 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 and whoo, and boom. Yeah, you like my sound effects? Damn right. And that's the basic gist of Booster Gold's powers and abilities. So let's get into some reading suggestions. The great thing about Booster Gold is that while he's all around the DC universe, you don't need to invest too much to get to know the character and to get into him. Not just that, but I'm going to throw 2 suggestions in this reading list that Booster doesn't really play that big of a role in. However, it does affect the character going forward. So, with that said, let's talk Booster Gold. First thing first, the one thing you need to get is the Showcase Presents Booster Gold. This is a nice, thick book, right? It has about 25 issues into it. Written by Dan Jurgens, the creator and basically the mastermind of Booster Gold. Let me confirm it's exactly 25 issues. Yes, it has 25 Booster Gold issues, a couple Secret Origins, and I think a 0 Hour crossover. But basically, Dan Jurgens, who is kind of an unsung hero in the DC community, or in the comic book community. I mean, you have your Bendises, you have your Jim Lees, you have your Jeff Loebs, you have these big names that you throw out there, the Grant Morrisons, stuff like that, the Hitches, but like those are like the superstars, right? Dan Jurgens is probably one of the most important writers in DC Comics, who's not like an amazing superstar. He's not the first name you're going to think of, but he wrote Superman throughout the 90s, especially the death of Superman. He's writing Superman right now in Action Comics, and he helped create, well, he did create Booster Gold, and his hands usually touch everything Booster Gold is part of. So, this is Booster Gold's first series, right? 25 issues plus a Secret Origin. This gives you the basic gist of Booster Gold. The character, everything you need to know. The only downside of this is that it's not in color, right? It's in black and white. But for a value of $16, $16, little man, put that shit in my hand. Nah. Little Jay and Silent Bob reference from Clerks 2. It's $15, not $16. But for $16, you get 25 issues. You can't go wrong with that. It's great value. If you want to go out and get the individual issues yourself, you can. But this is the starting on point for Booster Gold, and a must read. So we have that. Next, you can hop into the Justice League International, where Booster plays a pretty good role. He's not in the picture there, but he's in the back. Look at that face. Oh, Booster. This is Justice League International is an interesting comic, and there's Booster right there. Gotta love this guy. It's an interesting comic because while it does have his action and suspense and his feel to it, it's more lighthearted and has kind of a comedic tone, but not an overwhelming one. Just there's a little bit more wit and quips in it. Done by DeMatteis and Giffens. You can't go wrong with Justice League International. You can get, I recommend at least the first volume to get your dip and dab of Booster Gold, but I also recommend if you have a little extra cash, after you're done with this list, go back and read more of this, because Justice League International is a good book in general, and Booster plays a pretty good role in it. But at the very least, if you're tight on money, get the first volume. Now, moving on, we're going to the 2 comics that don't have Booster in them. And I was debating on whether or not to put them on the list, because they can be very DC continuity heavy. Okay? But they're worth getting because they're going to play into future stories. And basically, those are the OMAC Project and the Crisis on Infinite Earth. These play a role in what will be one of Booster's best stories coming up next. The drive and motivation for the character, and not just that, the evolution of the DC universe and the world that he lives in. These are fantastic books on their own. This could be very continuity heavy. It's a great story, but you're going to be reading it and you're going to be like, what the hell is going on? But OMAC Project you can kind of read on its own and enjoy for what it is. But again, this book doesn't have much Booster in it. I'm actually looking through. Booster's in it towards the end. But again, it's all about setting the stage for the later stuff. So if you want to avoid, if you're really tight on cash, you can technically skip these 2. I wouldn't recommend it, but you technically can and just kind of, spark notes it, but still good books. Next, this is a big one. This is where Booster's going to get the most really, not, I wouldn't want to say the most amount of development, but really changes his character the most. And that is 52. This is a 4-volume, $20 series. So it's pretty expensive, but it's 52 issues. The concept of 52 is really grandiose. Basically what it is it's an issue each week for a year. And it's supposed to be setting up the missing year of the DC universe after the Infinite Crisis. So what happened when Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman were gone. And like I said, Booster plays a fantastic role in this. But not just that, a lot of other characters. This is where you get the first appearance of Kat Kane as Batwoman. Booster Gold plays a big role. Black Adam plays a big role. Steel, Lex Luthor, The Question, Adam Strange, Animal Man, Starfire, Green Lantern, the Justice Society. Like, there's a great cast of characters here. I would recommend this to any DC comic book enthusiasts. I think this is one of the best, most ambitious series out there that DC has put out. Mind you, it does have its faults, but it has some really good moments. The Ralph Dibby moment at the end was fucking amazing. This is really good stuff. So, 52. It's going to cost you a pretty penny. Maybe you can go to a 50% off sale or get them cheap up on Amazon or eBay, but it's worth getting. And now we move into, and I'm going to just give a generalization. Now we're going to move into Booster Gold's last series he's had before the New 52 happened. And basically this series is, I'm missing one volume, because that's when New 52 came out and I stopped picking up trades. But you got, your general Booster Gold 52 pickup, which is basically a wrap-up of 52, but just from Booster Gold's perspective. Blue and Gold, which is Blue Beetle plays a heavy role in this. Then you have Reality Lost. This is a really good one. I enjoyed Reality Lost. Day of Death. Tomorrow Memory. And quite possibly one of the best covers, Past Imperfect. There are a few other volumes out there that you can get, but if you get these, this is enough to get your booster fix. Booster Gold does show up in the New 52 in Justice League International Volume 2 for the New 52, but it's not necessary for his reading, and I almost say avoid it because, it's 2 volumes. If you want to pick it up, you can. But it's kind of confusion on whether that's the real booster or not, because there's kind of 2 boosters floating around, right? I'm not going to get into it. Just skip them, right? And then you can, if you want to, if you do individual issues, or if you want for trade, Booster has made an appearance in the most recent Action Comics arc. The last, 10 issues, not 10, but maybe the last 7 issues, has been Booster Gold and Superman. This has been solid stuff through and through. I really have been enjoying it. And the great thing about Booster, and you're going to like this, right? The great thing about Booster Gold is he's a character that's outside of concept and continuity and reboots and relaunches, right? Booster is the same from beginning to end. Every reboot, relaunch, revamp, everything that's done. Crisis on Infinite Earths, 0 Hour, Infinite Crisis, 52, the New 52, Rebirths. Booster kind of is always outside of it. He's not affected by it. He has his memories of everything. He knows the changes that happens, and it doesn't matter to him. Superman without underwear is the same as Superman with underwear to him. He knows the histories of both, and he's experienced stuff with both, but, again, Booster's outside of that, which is kind of the cool lure of the character. Again, there's not too much that you need to get into with Booster Gold, which makes him an easy character to get into, but he's definitely worth picking up. So, in saying that, I will take any suggestions for characters that you want me to do on my next video. Just throw them out there, and I may do one of them, I may not, but I will give first dibs to anyone who's a patron. So if you're a patron, you can throw out a suggestion there, and I will definitely take your consideration a little bit more. There's only 2 patrons right now, but hey, it is what it is. If I have the information for the character, I will definitely do the stories. So that is a introduction of Booster Gold and getting to know him, and I hope you enjoyed it. With that said, this is Andrew saying peace out.